Okay, what's going on, y'all? Swingy Bull here with PB Alerts. Welcome to another earnings stream. Just messing with my indicators on TradingView right now. But the two companies reporting earnings today that I picked out, United Airlines and Kinder Morgan. So that's Kinder Morgan, that's ticker symbol KMI. United Airlines is UAL. United Airlines is supposed to report right at 4 o'clock, so it just hit 4 o'clock. The closing bell to the regular session just rang. So it's getting a negative reaction so far. Going into the earnings, United was trading at $88.53, up about 2.5% on the day. Now they're sitting here in after hours down a little over 3%. It's like a little under $3 a share. Let me go 1 minute chart here and just kind of see get a closer look. So initial negative reaction. Let's see if it gets bought up. It's forming a pretty big bottom wick right now. So it does look like it's getting bought up a little bit, but let's give it a second for it to kind of marinate and settle. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see me or hear me on the Discord. Sorry about that. I was muted. But yeah, looking at United Airlines right now, the initial reaction was negative, and it looks like it got scooped up. So that's a perfect example of a lot of times with these earnings. Sometimes that first move isn't the real move, right? So it's bounced back up. We'll see if it holds up here or comes back down, but the data should be out. Let me just go over here to Webull just real quick. Okay, going into the earnings. Trailing 12 months PE ratio was 8. EPS was 10.9. 324 million float. I'll keep the candlesticks up here real quick. I'm going to check on my other screen, see if we got EPS and revenue and all that. And maybe some guidance. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, the earnings are out. Looks like we're getting a reaction on Kinder Morgan as well. I'll go over to that here in a second. I just want to get the data for United Airlines first. So forecast EPS was $3.81, and they just reported $3.87. So they beat. EPS beat. Revenue looks like they missed just by a little bit. United Airlines catching a bid right now, trying to. Still kind of a little volatile. You can see the candle it's working on now. Still kind of flickering around. So I think it's data still being digested by investors. Initial wick down to 85 and some change. So it went down first, and then it went up to almost 90. And now there's selling pressure back in. So still kind of indecision going on with United Airlines. The revenue forecast was 15.3 billion, and they just reported 15.23 billion. So they missed revenue just by a little bit, but they beat EPS. Year over year numbers, EPS was down 7%. Revenue was up 2%. For quarter over quarter numbers, EPS was up 325%. Wow, so that's pretty good for quarter over quarter. Stock price not really reflecting that's a positive, that's enough to push it up, but revenue was up 15% quarter over quarter. So quarter over quarter numbers look nice, but we do got some selling coming in. Again, a little bit of indecision at first. It wicked down to 80. It closed the regular session at 88 and some change. Wicked down to 85 first, then went up to almost 90, and now the sellers kind of got the ball right now. There's a pretty good sell side imbalance on the level 2 order book, so I got my eye on that. And let's see if there was any guidance or anything like that we can get into. Give me 1 second here. And it looks like KMI, Kinder Morgan's data might be out as well. I think they were supposed to report at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. So it's 4:04 right now. So their data should be coming out very, very soon. Regarding United Airlines, let's just take a look at some things here. So second quarter pre-tax earnings, 1.2 billion. Okay. Earnings per share 2.97, and adjusted for diluted earnings per share 3.87, and the guidance 3.25 to 4.25. So total operating revenue grew 1.7% compared to the year ago, same time last year. And a couple of notes from the CEO. His name's Scott Kirby. He said our second quarter performance was more proof that the United Next strategy is working. I'm extremely proud of the team for executing a strong operation and navigating through a volatile macroeconomic period while still growing earnings and pre-tax margin for the first half of the year, said United CEO Scott Kirby. He also goes on to say, importantly, United saw a positive shift in demand beginning in early July, and like 2024, anticipates another inflection in industry supply in mid-August. The world is less uncertain today than it was during the first 6 months of 2025, and that gives us confidence about a strong finish to the year. Okay, so got some good statements he's putting out. The expected move for United Airlines is a little over 6%. So, you know, $5.40 a share or something like that. Right now it's down $2. So about halfway to its expected move if it does continue going down. But again, just to recap, they missed revenue. So looks like investors were wanting to see kind of maybe the revenue forecast to get beat, and they didn't beat it. They did beat EPS by a little bit, but miss on revenue. And let me just scroll down here. Now, also wanted to point out United Airlines is up almost 32% from the last earnings. So that's just something to kind of keep note. They reported earnings right after the market experienced that 20% correction from February to April when we were downtrending for a few months. And they had earnings right after that in like the middle of April. And they're up 32% since then. So that they were kind of running into earnings from the last earnings. And here they are now in after hours with this earnings down about $3 a share, which is about 3.5%. So let's see if a bottom comes in. But so far, it's like I said, the initial price action. If you go 1 minute chart, it wicked down, and then it wicked down to 85. Then it wicked up to almost 90. So a little bit of indecision when the data first came out, and then sellers just kind of took control of the ball here and trying to see if United Airlines bottoms out here. Let me see if I can get something I can copy and paste here into the bottom of my screen. And then we're going to switch over to Kinder Morgan. And then at the end of the stream, I want to go over some of the trades I've been doing in the Discord. I'm going to post this data here from earnings time. Credit to earnings time here. And it's basically the EPS revenue and the net income they got. Okay, this is for Q2 of this year. Boom. All right, so it's on the bottom of my screen now. It's almost 4:10 p.m. Eastern. So just to summarize, United Airlines with a negative reaction. Let's see if they can bottom out. Let's take a look at a few other things just real quick. Okay, yeah, everyone's kind of just reporting the same stuff that I'm saying. So now that we got the reaction for United Airlines, I got the data posted on the bottom of my screen. Let's switch over to Kinder Morgan real quick. Ticker symbol KMI. Okay, they closed the regular session flat, literally to the penny. They were flat, 27.94 a share. Just looking at the daily chart here. I mean, overall, they were kind of trending up since the last earnings. starting to kind of stall out here right before this earnings, but so far, let me just go back to intraday here. They're basically flat in after hours. I'm pretty sure their data's out. So let me just check in on that real quick. And yep, okay. So the data's out. It's not looking like it's impressing investors. On the same token, it's not selling off either. So not necessarily a bad thing. Still got United Airlines on my left here, just waiting to see if it's going to form a bottom and maybe start reclaiming some of these levels from the selling. But KMI, just real quick, and for those that don't know, Kinder Morgan, it's oil and gas company. All right, they're an energy infrastructure company, and they own an interest in or operate approximately 79,000 miles of pipelines and 139 terminals. So that's what they do. And going into the earnings, PE ratio of 24, EPS was $1.15. They also pay a dividend of 4.19%. It's pretty common with oil and gas companies. Free float's 1.94 billion, but their dividend's a little over 4%, kind of in line with the treasury yields, right? Let me just look at their income statement. I would assume they're profitable. Yeah, okay, so nice and profitable company over the past 5 quarters. A positive net income ranging from 600 million to like 775 million, kind of a little range there. Past 4 earnings, their net income has slowly been going up. That's good to see. Debt to asset 55%, was pretty good. Only $80 million in cash and equivalents. I figure for oil and gas company, they probably have a little more than that. But nonetheless, they got 72 billion in assets and only 40 billion in liabilities. So assets definitely leading the charge with their debt to asset, if you will. Yeah, I mean, you know, seems to be, I mean, it rallied. Let me see, it rallied into the end of last year. A nice strong rally. I mean, this thing can go weekly chart. There we go. So yeah, it was kind of trading sideways for just about all of 2023. And then right when 2024 hit, they rallied basically the whole year. And so far this year, they just kind of been trading in a little range. Not really trending up, but not really trending down. It's been a bit choppy this year for Kinder Morgan. And even with this earnings catalyst, there's just not much reaction going on there. Let me pull this back over. So EPS was up 12% year over year. Revenue was up 13% year over year. So, you know, double-digit growth for the year over year numbers for EPS and revenue. But on a shorter time frame looking, quarter over quarter, EPS was down 18%, revenue down 5%. But, you know, their EPS forecast was 0.28, and they just reported 0.28. So EPS in line. Revenue, they beat by a little bit. Forecast revenue, 3.8 billion. And they just reported 4.04 billion in revenue. So they beat revenue by 6%. I mean, that's good. Revenue beats are always good. But hasn't really impressed investors yet, because it's basically trading 10 cents a share above where it closed. Closed at 27.94, trading at 28.04 right now. So yeah, not much of a move, to be honest with you. There's no move really at all with Kinder Morgan. And again, EPS came in line, and they did beat revenue. Let's see if I got anything else here. A couple business highlights from Kinder Morgan. They did reach a record 1.97 billion in Q2. That's up year over year, 6%. Cash flow from operations was 1.6 billion, with 1 billion in free cash flow. Okay, so they got free cash flow of 1 billion. All right, that's good. You see, placed $750 million of projects in service during the quarter. Okay. They also declared a dividend, which we already knew from before that they paid a dividend a little over 4%. Let me see what the last dividend payment was. 0.29 a share. Okay. So they declared a dividend of 0.29 a share for Q2, which was a 2% year over year increase. That was from before, by the way. Gulf Coast Express expansion to be in service mid 2026, added 570 MFCFD capacity. Let me go back intraday on Kinder Morgan. Back to United Airlines, just real quick though. They haven't found the bottom yet. They just made a new after hours low. They just hit 84.60. They're still selling inbound here. Go trading view. Yep. So the bottom is not in on United Airlines. So you might want to be a little patient on that. But back to Kinder Morgan, which seems to be the earnings data seems to be a little bit better than what United Airlines posted, but they got a lot of exciting things in development with Kinder Morgan. Couple notes from the CEO, Kim Dang. The company generated strong second quarter net income attributable to KMI and record adjusted EBIT with increased financial contributions from our natural gas pipelines and terminals business segments versus the second quarter of 2024. So he's just comparing the year over year numbers basically. And he also, or is she, I believe, CEO Kim Dang. We continue to internally fund high quality capital projects while generating cash flow from operations, which they did announce they had 1 billion in free cash flow. And that was obviously after capital expenditures. But the cash flow they actually generated from operations was 1.6 billion, and 1 billion of that was free cash flow. So I don't really see anything negative there. And again, the stock price, it's just not really doing anything. Stock was basically flat on the day. It's sitting here in after hours up a little bit. Let me go 1 minute chart. You got kind of really spotty price action here in after hours. At least that's what TradingView shows. See if the Webull has the same thing. Kind of looks like bar coding. Yeah, it's just real sloppy price action. Can't really trust any of these candles. Nonetheless, it's up 0.3% in after hours. United Airlines trying to find the bottom. It's this 84.60. Let's see if maybe that's the bottom. I'm going to put a Fibonacci on this real quick. I just want to see. I'm not going to count these top wicks here because that obviously wasn't the real move. I'm just going to go from the top of this red candle here. We'll go down to 84.60. So yeah, it's kind of testing this 25% retrace right now, which is right around 85.50 a share. So obviously we got a handful of levels it needs to kind of break to the upside before my confidence that this is retracing goes up at all. Golden fibs right at 87 a share. So I'd say S1, since it's still kind of struggling with 25% retrace, support number 1 is very easy. After hours low, 84.60. I suppose we can go on the bigger time frames and find an S2. So we've got 84.60 at S1. Oh, I just noticed a little gap on the daily chart too. This is from a week ago. They gapped up here from 83 to like almost 85. That's only a $2 gap, but nonetheless, it's a gap, and I don't think it ever came back down to fill that. So a little bit of unresolved price action there on the daily chart from a week ago. So yeah, that's probably going to be my S2. Pretty obvious. That puts it right around 83 a share. So S1, 84.60, which is the after hours low. S2, was what, that 83 a share, which would be the bottom of the gap, assuming that gap gets filled. Easy support levels. Resistance, I'm going to put it at 87 bucks. That's where the golden fib retracement is. That's pretty important level. All my math people know that. So it's 87 bucks, almost to the dot. That's going to be resistance 1. So R1 87, and then I'm the full retrace back up to where it kind of closed the regular session at about 88.50. That's R2, pretty easy there. But this golden fib needs to be taken out, and then maybe there's an easy trade there up to where it closed. So R1, 87 bucks, R2, 88.50, and again, this is just after hours price action based on the 1 minute candle. So, of course, that's the only data we have to go off of. After quite a few more 1 minute candles print, we can switch it to the 5 or the 15 and kind of go from there. But it's looking like there's some dip buyers here. It did already retrace 25% and the 30%. It's kind of sitting at a 50% retrace, be right around 86.50. So there's some signs of life here. Let's see what happens for the remainder of after hours. Then, of course, let me show everyone how to get to, did I post KMI data yet? Let me post EPS and revenue on KMI. I don't think we have some time left here at the end. I just want to go over some of the recent trades in the Discord that have been making money with the members in there. So there's the KMI earnings data. I know I'm talking about United Airlines right now, but United Airlines making a solid attempt at retracing. They are now at the golden fib. Kind of sitting right there, chilling right at the golden fib again, 87 bucks a share. So see, now my confidence is increasing that, hey, this is making the run. This is probably going to retrace. And we've seen this in the past that a lot of times you get that kind of V-shaped recovery. You get that 100% retrace. I mean, it's pretty obvious that was taken, that the little bit of selling that happened was taken as a discount. People are scooping up the discount. And then, of course, maybe some more earnings data got digested, and investors are looking at it as a buy opportunity here. So it's now at the golden fib. So yeah, my confidence has increased that this may retrace all the way. And like I was saying in the past, when we've seen some of these stocks with the earnings catalysts kind of sell off first and then start retracing, a lot of the ones that retrace 100%, they go on to trend. They a lot of times they keep trending up. Pretty obvious it was a solid dip buy, and as the earnings data gets more clear and clearer for investors, investors start seeing it as a buying opportunity, and then you get the dip buy and the reversal, and then you're usually pretty good after that. So let me show everyone how to get to the United Airlines earnings web call with the CEO in the upper management and all that good stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna go to United Airlines Investor Relations. Just go to their homepage. Sometimes it'll be right on the homepage. Okay, all right. Fun fact here. Of course, most of the time these companies do their earnings web call like a 30 minutes or an hour after the data gets dropped. But it looks like United Airlines web call isn't until tomorrow morning, folks. It's right on their homepage of their investor relations page. They're saying it's at 10:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. So if you were here for the earnings web call, we're not going to be able to see that tonight. You're going to have to wait until tomorrow morning, which also tells me that's a lot of time between when the earnings data gets released and up until their web call. So the price, the earnings web call tomorrow morning. So the price action might do some interesting things for the remainder of after hours, and then of course pre-market, and even after the market open tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do leading up to that earnings web call tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern, because that's a lot of time in between for investors to kind of maybe figure out what they want to do, what they might do later, or So yeah, not till 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. So, but I'll go ahead and post this link. Let me click on this and see where it takes me. Okay, yeah, right here. So I'll post this link for everyone. I'll leave it up on my screen. Give people a chance to screenshot it. There we go. So that'll take you to the web call. Again, tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So we're not really going to see a secondary move tonight, probably. Who knows? Maybe it just kind of, it sold off. Now it's kind of retracing back to baseline a little bit. It's only down $1.43 a share. I mean, this is an $88 stock, when it closed the regular session shade. So not really anything crazy going on. I mean, it was up to almost 2.5% during the regular session. It's only down 1.6% right now. So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait until they have their earnings web call tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and maybe there's a secondary move there, but not really much action going on. Kinder Morgan, kind of the same thing. And to be honest with you, back to United Airlines, I figured we'd have, whether a positive move or a negative move, I figured it would have more of a move, but nothing really exciting going on. Which, if you're a United Airlines bull, yeah, it's not rallying or catching a bid. But like I say, it's not selling off either. So it's not really a bad thing. So we're just going to have to wait until 10:30 tomorrow for the earnings web call and see if there's going to be another move out of this or what. Because I'm sure they'll clarify a lot of the guidance and stuff with the earnings call. So Kinder Morgan. Not sure how many people are here for that one, but let me see how to get to their earnings web call. I'll get their link too for everybody. Save everyone some time. And then after that, we'll look at some of the trades I've been doing lately on the Discord. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep United Airlines on the left because that's kind of more, it actually had made a move, even though it's kind of just nothing going on now, that's the one that actually kind of made an initial move. Kinder Morgan is just flat. Okay, this is their investor relations page. Give some info about the company. 13% of the company is owned by upper management. Let's see here. July 16th, Kinder Morgan reports second quarter financial results. So you can click on that to get that there. And right here. So here, I'm going to go ahead and copy this link because they're the link to their earnings web call, and it is saying that it's today, is right on the homepage. So, okay, hopefully everyone had a chance to screenshot that United Airlines link. Again, not till 10:30 tomorrow, so we're just gonna have to wait on that. United Airlines looked like they're wanting to retrace, do a little V-shaped recovery here. They did a real nice job breaking through the first few levels, 25%, 38%, and 50%. I mean, those got retraced with no hesitation, really. And now it's just sitting here by the golden fib. That's why this golden fib level is kind of important. Well, I always like to look at that level. It's right at 87 bucks, and it's kind of just trading right there, thinking about what the next move is going to be, right? But for Kinder Morgan, let me post their link here. There we go. All right, so if you're a Kinder Morgan investor, there's the link for the earnings web call. And let's see if they give me a time on this thing. Okay, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So this is actually going down in 2 minutes. So actually, this link is kind of short. Let me post this link because this will take you right to the earnings web call. That starts just in 1 more minute. So if you're a Kinder Morgan investor, boom, there's the events link for the earnings web call. That starts in less than 1 minute. I'm personally not going to stream it. It's about 4:30 right now. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way real quick. Still got United Airlines on the left side here. I'll leave Kinder Morgan's earnings web call link up there for a few. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the recent trades I did in the past week or so. Got a nice little group hanging out in the Discord as well, so I know Some of them made some money with me on these trades. Again, my name's the Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. This is just a quick look under the hood with our Discord. Guess we can start with this trade I took profit on earlier today. Yesterday afternoon, about an hour before the regular session closed, I opened up some call credit spreads on SPY, collecting about 29% return on capital in credit. $1 wide spread. So obviously to trade spreads, you're going to need a margin account, but $1 wide spreads, opened to like 5 of those, collected $29 credit on the onset of the trade. And then, of course, looking at the price action from yesterday to today, we took some really good profit on the down move on SPY I had today. And I figured 44%, less than a 1-day hold, that was good enough for me. So I went ahead and bagged that. Now, the metrics of the call credit spread was I sold the 629 call, so I sold to open. This was only Friday's expiration, so it was only 3-day to expiration. Let me put United Airlines EPS and revenue data back up here. Most people probably here for that, and they can just quickly look at that if they join the stream. But yeah, yesterday, you could see right here, it's right around 3:19 p.m. yesterday afternoon. That's Eastern time. You can even see where SPY was trading at yesterday. Around that time, it's going to be 1500 hours, which is right here. So we opened up the spreads here, and SPY was trading at 623, the mid 623s when we opened the trade. And like I said, this was a call credit spread. Anytime it's a credit spread, you're doing the opposite of what the contract is. Okay. Some people get confused. They're like, well, you're trading calls. Why is that bearish? Well, that's because I'm short the call, right? So call credit spread, technically short the call because we're collecting credit on the onset of the trade. Sold to open the 628 call for Friday's expiration, and then I bought to open the 629 call for Friday's expiration, all on one trade ticket, and produce a $29 credit for each $100 I'm tying up on the trade. So, which tells me that's a potential of a 29% return on the capital you're using that you're tying up for the spreads. Woke up today, fast forward to today. Of course, I was loving the price action and after hours yesterday because I was technically short SPY when that happened. And it was nice seeing that. It did try and recover in the morning. And due to theta decay alone, I had profit on the table, even though the price, in pre-market came back up to basically where the price was at when I initially opened them yesterday afternoon. You can see clearly. Let me make this bigger. There we go. You can clearly see I opened it when SPY was trading here in 623 and some change. Had a beautiful aftermarket dip. Of course, I was short SPY with my call credit spread, so I love seeing that. And then it kind of retraced back up to where I had bought it at, or where I had opened the spreads up yesterday afternoon. That's where it was at when the regular session bell rang this morning. And the funny thing was with credit spreads, theta decay is our friend. Okay, we like theta decay because with credit spreads, we ultimately want both legs of the spread to become worthless. That allows us to pocket all the premium we collected when we opened the trade. So even though SPY recovered back up to the level it was at when I opened them yesterday, because of theta decay and the expiration date was so close, it's only a 3-day expiration on those contracts. I had some nice profit at market open, and I always kind of first 30 minutes of the day, I'm usually just a spectator. I don't really trade the opening move too much. Pardon me, my office phone is ringing, and let me put that on mute. I'll call them back later. probably for a real estate deal. All right. So my point is that's the beautiful thing with credit spreads is that the underlying stock could literally just trade sideways, and we really don't care because we're collecting the theta, the time value on the credit spread side. But anyways, after I saw that, SPY had, after the kind of a choppy open, to be honest with you, lots of ups and downs, and then it finally made a move down. I decided to keep holding the spreads. And then, yeah, we had some really good, oh, geez, this person really wants to talk to me. I'll call him back after the stream. But yeah, took profit. I was happy I took profit. SPY ended up reversing, didn't it? Right. So especially for the Discord members, when you see me updating my trades, like, hey, I'm taking profit on this, or I'm closing that, or opening this. There's a reason why I'm doing it at the times I'm doing it. I'm not just randomly opening and closing stuff. Okay. I just figured, 44% on the credit spreads in less than 1 day was, perfectly fine for me. I've been trading for quite a long time now. I'm not really too greedy anymore. And if I can get some quick gains, if I can get some nice gains and quickly, I'm going to take it. That's just how I am now. And, you traders that are kind of new to the game, you'll realize that. You'll realize that over time that, sometimes you just got to kind of take what the market gives you and try not to be too greedy, and things should work out okay for you. So yeah, just a brief explanation on these SPY call credit spreads, when I opened the trade, what happened in the extended hours sessions, and what I ended up doing today because of price action, basically taking the quick profit. And I was happy with that. Also had some OSCR cash secured puts. I was selling the $14 cash secured puts. Only made like 20 bucks on the trade. But again, I wasn't in this trade for a long time. I think just a few days. I think I opened that up on Monday. I have to go back and check. But 27%. I did see some weakness on OSCR earlier, which ended up kind of being a little bit of a fake out. But you can see OSCR, here's the 5-minute chart here. They opened when the opening bell rang, they were trending down. Little did I know that it would totally do a 180 and start going in my direction. But again, I've just learned over the years to not take chances. Like, and I had, almost 30% on the table. And that was fine for me. Are there going to be times where I take early profit and then the underlying ends up really going in my favor, and I could have probably got a lot more and obviously probably left money on the table? Yeah, of course. That shit happens all the time. And if you're beating yourself up behind the scenes because you're leaving money on the table, you need to get over that. Just get over it. You're not going to prevent from that happening. You're not going to be able to prevent that from happening. This whole trading thing you got to conquer your mind. And if you're beating yourself up, I see that sometimes too. Like, I was talking to a trader last week, and they were like upset, because they were in a trade and they took profit. This is what kind of blew my mind, and I had to really get down to the nuts and bolts with this person that they had something wrong with their mind. Because let me tell you what happened. So this person, I'm not going to name any names, but they took 20% profit on a trade, and it was like an overnight deal too. I mean, 20% overnight, that's fantastic. Once you've been trading for a long time, you'll learn to know that it's great to get that overnight. My point is they were upset with themselves because after they took their 20% profit, it ended up running like 100% or something. And they're in their own head, and they were literally, I could tell they were kind of upset, and I had to kind of bring them back down to reality. Like, number one, it was a profitable trade. So why are you beating yourself up? You're purposely putting yourself in a negative mindset when you made money. Like, what? That doesn't even make sense, right? And I'm just sitting here trying to explain to this person that they didn't do anything wrong. They think they did something wrong. No, there's always going to be situations where we take profit and you're going to potentially leave money on the table. Once you can get your mind around that is going to happen no matter what you do, you'll be just fine. But you got to stop beating yourself up over shit you can't control. And what you need to be focusing on is how can I make my risk management better? Because I think you should get better at managing risk first. You know, that should be your goal no matter what, is how can I not lose money today? And then the wins will just come, you know. You might miss some here and there, and you know, but you got to figure out how to not to lose money. And then once you can kind of master that, a lot of things kind of fall into place a little bit, you know, and you start seeing things getting a little bit better. You know, after taking a loss, it's not going to take you 2-3 wins to get that back. You know, that's when you're digging yourself a hole and all that stuff. Get good at managing risk. Get good at keeping your trades a 1-to-1 risk reward or better. And then when you get a loser, you know you can make that back on the next trade. It's not even a question. But if you're letting your losers just bleed out on you and you're not doing any management and you're just freaking hoping and praying that shit's going to turn around, which usually it's not going to. Are there going to be times that it does turn around? Yeah. But you shouldn't be you know, using that as like your trading strategy. I hope it turns around, you know. You got to kind of get a little more professional about this and start treating it like a business, as everyone should be. Now, if you got a ton of money and you just don't give a shit, then who cares? Whatever, do whatever you want. But you know, if you're using your hard-earned money to try and make your future more financially stable, and you really want to take this serious, you got to cut the games and all the dumb stuff. You got to cut that crap out. Hoping and the praying, and you just got to stop. You got to leave that shit at the front door. Let's get serious. Let's buckle down. Let's manage our risk accordingly. And if you can keep your risk reward to 1-to-1 or better, you just need to win more than half your trades. You'll be fine. You know, and there's other ways to manage risk. And, you know, maybe your risk reward is 1-to-3, where for every $1 you risk, you're going to make $3. Well, in a situation like that, you don't even have to be right half the time. I think it's only like 30 to 40%. There might even just be like, you just need to win 30% of your trades and you can be net profitable. That's if you're using a 1-to-3 risk reward. So there's different ways to set it up, but you know, you got to try and help yourself, you know. So we went over the call credit spread I opened on SPY yesterday afternoon and took profit on this morning. We talked about the OSCR cash secured puts. Did I leave money on the table? Yes. Am I beating myself up over it? No. You know, I'm making money. Why would I be upset if I'm making money? Excuse me. Take a sip of water real quick. That's why I was talking to that member last week, and they were upset because they only got 20% instead of 100% profit. I was like, you're sabotaging your own mental state by having a mindset like that. You should be celebrating that you got 20% and just accept the fact that you're going to leave money on the table. There's no way to prevent it. So the sooner you can get your mind in check, the lot better things start getting. All right, so just real quick, let me give everyone an update on my JetBlue position, because I got 1,200 shares of JetBlue, but I'm also making some really good money on it. So, oh wait, I wanted to see if JetBlue moved because of United. Let's see, not a little bit. They're still trading around 450. But here's my JetBlue position. This is one of my Fidelity accounts, and also I also share full transparency with my Discord members. They all see my account. I'm not hiding nothing. The trades that I alert, I am 100% in the trades with the members. I got skin in the game. Let me blow this up a little bit. But I found myself in a very unique situation on this JetBlue trade. You can see here I got 1,200 shares, the 4.37 cost basis. And very awesome situation because I sold 12 covered calls, the 450 strike. I collected $28 a contract on those. That allowed me to collect $339.88 in credit. So that was nice. But so I got 54% profit on the table now on that trade, up $183. This account here, that's all I do is wheel trades on this account. So I have like 4 or 5 different brokerages. Each broker has its different purpose. I usually do a lot of my spread trades on Schwab. Fidelity is where most of my wheels live at. Vanguard, I use for just buying, setting for like buy and hold, blue chip type deals, ETFs, dividend players. Don't really mess with my Vanguard too much. I usually just, my basket of stocks that I love long term, and they just sit there. So, just to give everyone an idea, I like to have different brokers for different purposes. It just helps me stay more organized. But yeah, I got almost $200 in profit on these 450 covered calls on JetBlue, while simultaneously being up $178 on my shares. So this is a situation where not only am I green on my covered calls, but I'm also green on my shares. So it's kind of like a little double dipper of profit there on that one. That's almost $400. These covered calls expire this Friday, so we'll see what happens in the next 2 days. Whether JetBlue is above 450 or below 450. That's really the only 2 things that can happen, right? I mean, unless it closes at 4.50, but I'm not sure the chances of that happening are there's probably pretty low. It does that. So I always look at it as it's either going to be above 450 or below 450. It's kind of funny. It's right at 450 right now in after hours as I'm talking, but I'm pretty sure by Friday it's going to be either above or below it. If it's above it, fine. Then I will fully pocket this $339.88 goes right into my pocket. I mean, it's already given to me on the onset of the trade, so now I just have to realize it. But if my shares get called away at 450, I'll absolutely still keep that 339 in credit. And then add that to the profit that I have from 4.37, my average cost, to the 450 assignment, which is going to be around $170 something, right? So if my shares get called away at 450, fine. I'm going to walk away with 339 plus about 178 just on this one trade. This is a relatively newer trade too, by the way. Sure, I'll walk away with over $500 net profit on the trade. Fine. I'll move on to the next trade, pocket that money, no problems. If JetBlue stays under 450, which I kind of want it to do, to be honest, because I want to see if I can squeeze in one more round of covered calls. I hope it's trading like in the 440s. That would actually be ideal situation for me, because you can clearly see here August 15th expiration, which would be the next monthly cycle. You can see the 50-cent strikes haven't been added yet. But as soon as July 18th falls off the option chain this Friday, the market makers will put the 50-cent strikes in here. So just to kind of give them an idea of what I could collect if I am able to do another round of covered calls, which I'm kind of hoping for. We could take the 450 strike here on August 8th, which is only a little over 3 weeks. Those are going for $40 right now. Okay. And obviously it'll be more like a 4-week expiration once this Friday comes and goes. So if I can collect $40 more per contract on this bad boy, I mean, let's do the math. If I can collect $40 more in, per contract, now I have 1,200 shares, so I can deploy 12 contracts. Well, 12 times $40, right? If I can bring in another $480 in credit on this thing, I would love that. And, you know, I'll be okay with that. The point I'm making is whether my shares get called away or they don't get called away, I'm okay regardless of what scenario happens. And I already know what I'm going to do depending on which scenario happens. And again, if JetBlue's below 450 on Friday, fine. I'll sell another round of covered calls, bring in another 480. Now I'm really stacking the income on this trade, and I would just love it. And that would put my cost basis well into the $3 range, and that would just be great. So that's what I would do. But if my shares get called away because JetBlue's over 450 on Friday, that's the only other scenario, I'm okay with that too. I'll walk away with several hundreds of dollars in profit, and then that will allow me to reposition and kind of reset. If I want to continue trading JetBlue, then I'll wait for a pullback and re-enter. If my opinion of the underlying changes in between cycles, then I'll just move on to another stock. It's fine. You know, so I have total confidence in my trading about what I'm going to do depending on what possible scenario can happen. It's already pre-planned up here. That way, depending on what scenario does happen, there's nothing really to catch me off guard. I'm not surprised. It's kind of like chess. I'm thinking ahead 2-3 moves to where if something does happen, there's no question. I already know exactly what I'm going to do. It just takes a lot of the stress out of trading. It takes a lot of the emotion out of it. And that's why I trade the way I trade, you know. And if you're sick of the rat race, trying to day trade every day, let me just trade SPY in the triple Qs every day and see if I can make a bunch of money in one day. When you're done with that BS, come and see me, okay? And it's probably only going to be a matter of time before you get fed up with the rat race of trying to day trade and get rich quickly. That shit's just not going to work. Are there successful traders that day trade and make a lot of money? Hell yeah, there is. I know a bunch of them. There's some of the other analysts in the Discord I'm in do that, and they make great money. Is it for everybody? No. Probably small percentage of people that can get away with it consistently. So my point is, when you're done messing around with the day trading BS, and you still have a little bit of capital left to work with, come see me. I'll show you how to trade better and safer with less emotion and less stress. We could even go mechanical with it and just take all emotions out of it. You know, so when you're ready to change your mind and your mindset about this whole trading thing, and you want to get serious about it, and you still have a little, and when I say a little bit of capital, you know, a few $1,000, you'll be fine. We could start trading spreads on that right away, build it up a little bit, and then we can absolutely jump in headfirst into the wheel strategy, because that's mainly what I trade. Is I run a ton of the wheel strategy. I sell cash secured puts to get into stock, and then I sell covered calls to get out of stock for profit, and it's as easy as that. I do trade a lot of spreads too, though. I usually do 1 to 2 spread trades a week, so I sprinkle those in. But yeah, that's really all I got for today. If anyone, you know, talking mainly to the Discord members here, if y'all ever need anything, you know, you can get a hold of me always. If you have any trades you're thinking about doing, shoot me a DM. I'll give you my honest opinion. I'm not going to blow smoke. All right. If I don't like the trade, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say no. I would not do that. Not financial advice, but I can absolutely give you my opinion. If it was me, what would I do? No problem. That's what I'm here for. Is for support. Of course, education, to show people how to trade a little more advanced. But yeah, love y'all to death. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. It's been about an hour. I do these earnings streams every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow is going to be probably a lot more exciting because we got Netflix. We got Netflix reporting earnings tomorrow after the close, as well as Interactive Broker and a few others. So there's going to be some action tomorrow, and I might even have an earnings lotto trade alerted tomorrow during the day for the Netflix. I'll see what their expected move is and all that fun stuff, and maybe we can do like a long iron condor, which is the opposite of a traditional iron condor. So a long iron condor, instead of credit spread on each side of the price, we slap a debit spread on each side of the price. So the trade does cost a debit when we enter, but I can usually get triple-digit returns on those long iron condors, also known as an inverse iron condor. We usually those have been fun to trade. So I think I'll put together a trade like that and alert it to everyone in the Discord tomorrow afternoon before the regular session ends, like maybe around 3 p.m. Eastern. Give everyone like an hour to enter the trade and stuff like that. And then we'll see what Netflix's earnings reaction is. And maybe we'll be waking up Friday morning with a nice little surprise of profit on our earnings trade. But yeah, this is the Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. Got some links in the description. You can check out if you're interested in joining our group or you're looking for a new home. And again, Swinging Bull, PB Alerts. If you do end up joining the Discord, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello. We can chit chat for a little bit. See if maybe I can help you pretty quickly with your situation or give you some guidance or some tips and tricks. Again, not financial advice, but I can absolutely tell you what I would do if I were in your shoes personally. But other than that, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. I hope everyone has a great night, and I'll see everybody in the very next video. Cheers and see you later. Bye.